Value vote ballots. Are you a discouraged voter? Do you want to see change? Hello, Canada and other interested countries. Canada is about to have another federal election. If you are one of Canada's many disgruntled voters, I need not explain to you how discouraged Canadians are. You already know. And I have no need to speak about the wasted threat we hear from voters prior to every election. We remember, we're going to throw those bums out. The only thing that this action of throwing them out does is it selects the faces of those who will ignore you once elected. It does not change the attitude of any politician. Same old, same old. Every election, it's the same old thing. Canada's politics has run amok. It is no one person's fault. It is the fault of allowing our system to become stagnant. When designed and established, placing an X on a ballot was the best of all possibilities. It was designed for a world in which most people were uneducated and forced to trust those who were educated. So allowing voters to place an X beside a symbol guaranteed that all eligible voters could exercise their right to vote and know that they were voting for the person of their choice. Now, over the years, we have changed who is eligible to vote. And since this X ballot was introduced, Canada has spent millions, billions, trillions of dollars to educate its citizens. But every time there is an election, we are told to take our illiterate X and place it by a candidate's name. Be a good little boy now. Be a good little girl. Make sure you vote. Why bother? Like the days when most were uneducated. We are still forced to leave the complete interpretation of our illiterate X to the leader and the party who wins. Their spoon-fed interpretation of lies is what causes many Canadians to cringe when they hear the words honorable politician. In an uneducated society, this blind trust is a must. But when the majority of a society is educated, and many of those highly educated, then this illiterate X and its false interpretations is an insult. During the last federal election, 41% of eligible voters sat out that election because of this insult. No one likes words put in their mouth. The biggest insult today is the fact that governments act as if we as citizens are still slaves or do not have the intellect required to blow our own noses, and therefore cannot be trusted to make any decisions. This is where I and many Canadians differ from our government. My entire trust and hope is in the good people of this great country. Whenever I see a young couple strolling downtown with their new baby, the young mom or dad is pushing an inexpensive baby carriage, probably bought at a garage sale, and one which has a lifespan of about 3 kilometers. But when I look closer and study the faces of mom and dad, I see that you cannot knock the love out of their eyes or off their faces with a 2x4. It is then that I know Canada is in good hands. I know that that couple will not lead this country wrong, because to do so will hurt the child that they love. And therefore they can be trusted with our future. And if we can trust the gentlest of our society, we can believe in the greatest portion of our society. In families, mom and dad must be the strength, protectors, and counselors for their children. In a vastly uneducated society, it is governments which must be its citizen strength, protector, and counselor. In families, time dictates. And soon time is telling mom and dad they must step aside and let this child or that child or all their children live for themselves, make their own decisions. It is true that the children will often call home for advice or financial assistance and sometimes drop by just to have a free meal. But once the advice has been given or the financial aid sent, the child will and must go back to living like the adult they are. In a country that is well balanced, governments must reach the same decision as mom and dad. They must give respect to those who have earned it. And those who have earned it here in Canada are those who have taken advantage of the opportunity to receive an education. As educated people, we are capable of seeing when we are being manipulated. As educated people, we need to be respected for the educated people we are. Governments must recognize this. As a country's citizens become more and more educated, it is imperative that the government acknowledge this factor. As its citizens become educated, so also must its ballot become an educated ballot. Unfortunately, Canadians have not experienced this wisdom from government. Fortunately, there is a way out of this disrespect. The way out is through the use of a value vote ballot. Unfortunately, we Canadians must force this ballot onto our overprotective government, our untrusting of its citizens government. To enforce this ballot, we must begin using its concept when we are called upon to place our illiterate X.